Hello and welcome back everybody to another Triads video. In this one we are going to be checking out how to use some triads to get some more colorful and interesting sounds over basic chord structures. And hopefully this will open up some opportunities in your comping and in your soloing and chordal arrangements on how to make just make yourself sound a little cooler, a little more interesting. So let's get into it. So how this all works, we'll do some background information here quickly first. Is we're going to be using the notes that go beyond the basic triad to find other triads that will work on top of that chord. So if that doesn't make any sense, let me explain here. So our basic chord that we're going to start with is just a C major. So 1, 3, 5. But instead of just having 1, 3, 5, we're going to actually add the rest of the notes on the scale on top of each other to make a larger chord, a 7-part chord actually. So we have 1, 3, 5. We're going to add the B, which is the 7th. Then we're going to add D. And then we're going to add, we could add F sharp as well actually. It's a sharp 11, and then we can also add the A, which would be the 13. Okay, so we got all 7 notes from C major scale stacked on top of each other as a chord. We're going to be looking at the triads that we can find within those now. So if we leave out the root and just look at the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th, we can see that that forms an E minor triad. Okay? We can also see now if we leave out C and E, and starting on the G, stack those 3 notes, we'll find a G major triad. And if we start on the 7th, 7, we'll get the 9th next, and then the sharp 11, which to me looks like a B minor triad. And then finally, if we start on the 9, so we're here in the upper structure, which means we're beyond the basic 4 notes of the chord, we have the 9th, the sharp 11th, and then the 13th. So that creates a D major triad. So to recap, the 4 triads that we get are E minor, G major, B minor, and D major. So using those 4 triads, we can start to color our C major chord how we want. So let's take a basic 2-5-1. That helps set up the C major sound, I think. Alright, there we go, just using some basic triads of the basic 3 notes in each chord. Now that would be smoother voice leading, but we can even just do bad voice leading, kind of like that, just so we can keep the root in the bass to really, point our ears in the direction of C. So with that, we're going to start replacing the C triad with these other ones. So let's start with the E minor and see how that sounds. So we're going to do D minor, 2-5-1. Okay, so, it sounds different than, but it doesn't sound more colorful. Now the reason is because we don't have a C in the bass anymore to keep the C context. So we're going to add the C underneath of the triad. So I know technically we're doing a 4-part chord now, but if we had a bass player, the bass player could play C, but we want to also be able to do it ourselves on guitar. So I'm going to play this open E minor triad shape here and put a C underneath it. So let's hear what that sounds like now. As soon as we get that C, we can hear there's a bit of crunch now in the chord and a little more color. Let's move on to the next triad. So we had E minor. Let's try a G triad with we're going to keep the C in the bass, right, to keep the context. Pretty nice. That one's very smooth sounding, not much tension in there. Okay, so if we go to the next one, B minor was our next one, starting on the 7th, 7, 9, sharp 11. B minor over C. Ooh. Okay, now we got some tension. We could voice it a little bit differently. But however you voice it, there is that tension, right? And that is caused from the sharp 11 now that we have on the top of the note. It's kind of a bright, I don't know, to me it's a little bit bright, red-ish, a little spicy. You can think of it however you want. Whatever helps you remember it. And let's do our final triad now. or D major. So we're going to keep the C in the bass one more time for this one. Nice. Not as spicy as the B minor. And I think that's because we removed this B. And by taking that away, we take away that crunchy major 7 in the chord. So it sounds a little warmer. There's a little D triad on top. So for now, these are just the possibilities over a major chord using only the notes that happen within kind of the major sound. And I'm taking that sharp 11 from the Lydian scale, but to me that's still major because we wouldn't want to add a natural 11. If we have an F natural in a C major chord with that E natural, it sounds crunchy, but not in the good way. So that's why we're doing a sharp 11 from the Lydian scale. We're just borrowing it for this. So I would recommend just taking those 3 triads and trying them in different areas of the neck and then exploring some different keys. So for example, start with that E minor triad, which contains the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th. And just try 2 5s all over the neck doing it. So we already talked about this one. Down here, you could do an E minor up here. And you might find some chord shapes that you already recognize, right? And you can see that, oh, that's just an E minor triad with a C in the bass. We can do one up here. Let's get a funky one here. We're gonna do a big stretch. So I got an open E minor triad with the C stretched down here. So tons of possibilities. Closed triads, open triads, whatever you want. See what works, see if you like any of the sounds, and then you can start to incorporate those into your playing, which we will get to in another video very shortly. So look forward to that, and happy practicing. I'll see you next time.